Welcome to Piggy Banks to Wall Street, the show that brings you the greatest minds in financial education. Piggy Banks to Wall Street is brought to you by Wenrich Wealth. To learn more about how Wenrich Wealth can help you plan for your future, or for a second opinion on your current plan, visit www.wenrichwealth.com or call 949-547-4313. Now your host, wealth manager, financial literacy advocate, and author of the book Teaching Kids to Buy Stocks, Stories and Lessons for Grown-Ups, JJ Wenrich.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Piggy Banks to Wall Street, where we bring you the best minds in financial education. I am excited to have my guest with me this week, Sammie Joseph-Fredericks, a financial literacy advocate, author. You're doing a lot of things now.
I am, right, in addition to my day job. Yeah, so.
Right. No, that's wonderful. I actually found you, and as most people that listen to the show probably know, my wife supports this quite a bit, and she and I both found you on Instagram initially before your first book had even come out. And it's been a lot of fun to watch you progress, watch your platform get, just do more and more things, and see you publish two wonderful children's books right now. So congratulations on everything that you're doing.
Thank you. And thank you for having me. Thank you for inviting me. I'm really excited about chatting with you today.
Oh, wonderful. I was excited that you agreed to do it, and hopefully we'll get some good information for the people listening. But yeah, just to start out, tell us a little bit about who you are and how you ended up doing the financial literacy education children's books and everything else that you're doing.
Yeah, sure. So like you said, I'm Sammie Joseph-Fredericks, and I am originally from Liberia, West Africa. So I moved here to the States in 1997, and I'm currently in Minneapolis, and this is where I live. This is where I moved to from Liberia. And currently married, and I have a 6-year-old son, Luke. And so coming from Liberia, a lot of things were so different. Like back in Africa, right? Nobody gives you credit for anything, right? Growing up, we didn't talk a lot about money. The only thing that we did talk, I heard about money was we didn't have any. I didn't know why we didn't have any. It was like every time we wanted something, it was like, we don't have any money for that. A lot of arguments, in my home growing up with my parents about money, but so that was about it. Nobody was intentional about teaching us, right? Me and my siblings about money. And then so fast forward, I come to America. My mom actually was still back home. My dad had passed away. Come here, and I started college here in Minneapolis, and one day I come outside of a class, and the whole, the streets had been blocked off, right? A lot of creditors sitting there waiting to with their applications for students. I had never seen anything like that before. And so, of course, I went and signed up. I remember my first card was a Discover card, and was so excited to start swiping, because I'm a poor college student from Africa, right? And so, and racked up a lot of credit card bills. Of course, student loans, where you sign up for student loans, and nobody tells you, well, you can give some of that money back, or you don't have to take all of this money, right? I maxed it up. And so, so there were a lot of mistakes that I made because I simply didn't know. And, but I was able to, after several years of, suffering the consequences of those bad decisions, I was able to get myself out of that situation with education, with talking to people and all of that. And then I had my son 6 years ago, and I was like, I do not want this kid to go through what I went through. And so this is where the whole teaching him about money started.
No, I remember a similar scene when I was at the University of Kansas, where I went up to get my books freshman year. And I got all these tables set up, and the one guy's holding up a t-shirt with a Jayhawk on it. Says, hey, all you got to do is apply for this card and you get this free t-shirt. And I knew better. I'd even had people warn me about getting out of credit card, but you know, free stuff is hard to turn down.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I had no idea. I mean, coming from home, it was so different. I've never seen anything like that before. I was like, oh, just gonna give me a credit card? Okay, I'll take it. And yeah, so
It's
that
tough
was where
to
it
turn
all
down
started.
free money.
Yeah, right? It's
Then you,
hard.
then you find out it's not free money.
It's not really free. No.
Oh. And so then, how did you go from there to being inspired to start to teach kids about it and want to help parents with
Yeah.
how they educate their kids? How did you get to that point?
So we did a lot of teaching at home. So I do more than just, teach my son about money. We try to teach him about all kinds of stuff, like things that, not stuff that he would typically learn in school, right? But those other things like managing emotions, like and then money and all of those things. So we do a lot of teaching at home, and we where I come from, we teach a lot through storytelling, right? So I would sit down and make up all of these stories for him, and he would just love them. And my husband heard us, one day, and he was like, "Why don't you just write a book about this stuff?" And so I was like, oh, okay, I'll do it, not even thinking that this book was going to leave the four walls of my house. I was like, yeah, I'll write a book and we'll just read it, over and over again or whatever. And so I wrote the book, and a few of my friends read the book and were like, you should publish, put it out there, because I would love this book for my kids, because I don't even know where to start with this whole money business. And so that's how it started. So the Luke and Dee Dee Money Adventure series started, right in my home with, by talking to my son, telling him these stories, and then it turned into a book, into 2 books now. So it's actually a 5-book series. Of course, that covers stuff like saving, spending, sharing, earning. And since I met you and your wife, I have added a 5th book, investing. So I was just talking to her about that yesterday. She was like, really? I'm like, yeah.
Oh,
So it's the 5-book series. Yeah.
yeah, very cool. Yeah, we've the first book came out probably not even a year ago, right?
About a year ago. Yep.
About a year ago.
About a
Okay.
year ago. Yeah.
The grandma's special gift, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
And for everybody watching it, you see it on my screen. And if you aren't watching it, you're listening, you can find more certainly on our website. And then Sammie, your website's SammieFredericks.com, correct?
SammieFredericks.com. Yes.
And then Spinning at the Fair came out in around May or so. Is that right?
Yes, in May. It did come out in May. So the first book was really Grandma's Special Gift, was really it started these 2 kids. It was about you in the series, you're following 2 9-year-old best friends, Luke and his best friend Dee Dee, as they learn these money lessons. And so the first book was, it started it all off where, his grandma sent him some money, and where before she sent him presents like toys and stuff. And then she, wrote out like why she's sending him money, and some of, made suggestions of what he should do with the money. So that's where you see on the cover is save, he started a save, a share, and a spend jar.
Yep. Very cool. And how did you find your illustrator, your artist? Because I just love your pictures. It's a beautiful
Instagram.
Instagram.
So
Okay.
this actually, what's funny about this is actually the second set of illustrations that I got done for this book. So I found the first person that I found did a set of illustrations that, I was like, oh gosh, I feel like I need more. This is not it. You get that, like, this is not it. And we, there were a lot of back and forth and stuff. And so that didn't work out, right? And so with the second book, I was just like, I'm just gonna, do like a search on Instagram for children's book illustrators, and I did. And this one, Abira, who I worked with on this project, came up. I, look at her page, loved the work that she had done in the past. I reached out to her; she was available. And we've just worked so well together, and she's going to do all 5 of the books in the series. So Yeah. And she actually was in Canada at the time when I met her. So I've never really met her. I haven't ever met her in person. And she lives in India right now. That's where she's from. So
Yeah, it's amazing how not just the social media, but even other things, how it shrunk the world. I mean, you and I, we never would have met if not for social media.
yeah, yep, true.
A lot of the stuff I've had done on my book, I got onto different sites to find freelance people, whether it be, design type stuff or just
Mm,
technical, I can't get this thing to load properly type stuff. And I've had people in Sri Lanka and Bangladesh and in
mhm,
India that have helped
mhm.
me with different things.
Yes,
Pretty
yes. And
cool.
for me, going through the whole self-publishing, process, it would social media helped me a lot with that. So
Yep.
much with that. Yeah.
Yeah, and within financial literacy, especially on Instagram, it's a really neat little community.
Hmm.
It's pretty cool to see how people support each other.
Yes.
They're just kind of pushing that same rock up the hill.
Hmm. Yep. Love it.
Yep, absolutely. What's been the biggest surprise, or what's something that you didn't expect to come across that you have as a result of going through this journey?
Well, okay, so I mean, if it's for the self-publishing side, there were a lot of things that I just did not know. I wasn't an author. I've never written a book before, right? So there were so many things that I learned about, number of pages for children's book, how I read a lot. I mean, we read a lot of books at home, but I read a lot of children's books, just to get an idea of how people were writing for kids. I didn't know this stuff. And then, even as I look back at my first book, I look back at it and I was like, well, I could have done this differently and done, so I'm still critiquing myself and doing all of these things. In terms of teaching about money, I feel like every lesson I am learning so much, even as I am trying to teach this stuff. Every day that I try to go out there as I'm trying to create content, I'm learning so much, like, oh, wow, I didn't even think about this. Like, yeah, this makes sense. Or, yeah, there's no way I'm going to do that. Right. I'm learning hands on with my son that with kids, you have to make it fun. Right. You have I feel like what's worked for us a lot is like hands-on kind of experiences. Like, if you want to teach your kids about money, you give them money. The play money and all of that stuff doesn't, in my opinion, does not work as well as, giving him actual money, and having him manage it. So he has money, he goes to the store, pulls out his cute little dinosaur wallet, right? And he spends that money, and there's no more in there to spend. Like, now we go to the store, we don't buy him stuff that he wants. He's 6 years old and he knows to buy his own stuff, right? And I've learned that just being persistent and consistent with lessons. Last year I posted that we had put him through like an interview process and given him a job here as our compost manager, right? All of that is all fine, but it's like I have to, like after that, I thought it was going to be automatic. He wants money, he's going to go in and grab the compost and do what he's supposed to do. No, I still have to like tell him, hey, this is your job that you sign up for. So it's not easy. It's not going to be like, oh no, they're going to get it the first time. So all of these things that I learned along the way. I didn't expect that some of the things that we're doing now, we were going to be doing. I wrote the book and didn't think that, oh, now people are going to come to me for, what do I do in this situation with my kids? Like, what, I'm the expert now, like, it's so weird to me.
I'm still
But
guessing what to
yeah,
do with my kids.
yeah, right. But yeah, and the thing is, and what I always do before I even like give any advice or whatever, I tell people that I am still learning. This is what works for us, but you have to test things out and see what works for you and your family. So
And it's been
Yeah.
fun to watch you. I've even seen you put on Instagram things where you feel like you got it wrong, and you'll say, "Oh,
Yes.
I gave him this money, and I didn't let him spend it the way he wanted to, and I wish
Yeah.
he'd done
Yep.
it." And it's, I think
Or there was this, yeah, one time I forced him to give. He was 5 and he
that's what it
didn't like that. He did not like that. Like, you're such a mean mom. I'm like, well, we're learning about, I don't want to give, and that at that age, they're still learning about sharing their stuff, but he's gotten way better now. Like we go out and we have like family friends and stuff like that. We go out and he wants to buy everybody ice cream, so he's in his own little way, he's understanding that, I want to be the one to share. I love to give. We're reading all kinds of books about not just giving of money, but your time and your attention and these things that will make other people feel better and feel good and that kind of stuff. So I'm enjoying it. My husband and I are enjoying the process. And my husband's always like, what did you find again? What are we going to be, learning about money? But, he's so supportive. And sometimes, like, Luke will make a comment, like things that people wouldn't even expect him to make about money, right? Like, we'll go to the store, he'll look at the price on something, and it's like, I don't want to spend all my money on that. Like, just like randomly. Or, Mom, where's that? I need to look at the price of that stuff. All, he's always looking at price and, of everything. And my husband's like, oh, thank you so much for this, because neither of us had that, that kind of those lessons growing up about money. So
Yeah, it's
yeah,
one of
it's
those
so
little things that's
rewarding.
not a little thing. I took it for granted that doesn't everybody look at prices, and doesn't everybody, kind of study that and make sure they're getting the best deal. But I had it a
Right.
little bit ingrained in me that I always did that. But even Jody and I, when we first got together, she'd see something on an end cap at the grocery store, and I go, whoa, 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 we don't buy off of end caps. We can. That's a marketing
I'm
gimmick.
learning this stuff. Yeah, so it's like the same products on the end will be more expensive than, when they, or something like that, or they put the
Yeah.
most expensive things in easy reach or something like that. I'm just like, wow, I did not know this stuff.
Yeah, I'm not saying I won't buy it, something I see on an end cap, but I'm understanding, all right, they put that there for a reason. I'm going to go find it in the aisle. And if it still stands up that it's a good deal, all right, I'll do it. But it's going to be my idea by then.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. I remember this one time he was saving up to buy an electric scooter. Right. And so when he finally got the money to buy the scooter, because he's 6, he's still learning to spell stuff. He's like, Mom, how do you spell cheap? He wanted to type in Google cheap electric scooter. And so I thought that was so funny. Yeah. So.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. And so I know you've got the 3 more books on the docket.
Mm-hmm.
How's that going, and what are those? What's the release schedule look like for that?
So for the third book, okay, so I had this plan, right? Even though this is probably not gonna happen. When I put out the first book, I had, all of the books pretty much written, right? But of course, you learn stuff. I've gone back and tweaked and changed, and they've changed a lot, right? So the first 2 books are out. The third book, I was hoping, well, actually what I was hoping to do was get the rest of the books out and then do like a box deal where people can just get all 5 of the books, the one series, and purchase it that way. And I was hoping to get that out by Christmas, but that is not going to happen. But the thing, so I think I'm still just going to do the stagger release. So the third one will be coming out in maybe next May.
Okay,
is what I'm hoping to do. Yeah.
That's fantastic. It's been fun to watch it all happen. I know we bought the books, and my kids are a little bit older, so they'll read through them, but then we pass them down to my nephew, who
Oliver. He's so cute. So cute.
Yeah, my kids have gotten to the age where they're onto my gimmicks. They've realized I'm not as smart as I always said I was, so I've got a younger group to before they know any better. So I spend a lot of time trying to get my nephew Oliver to like me, since my kids don't like me anymore. So it's just the way it goes.
Kids.
Yeah.
Every time I hear these stories, it's like, is that what I have to look forward to? Now my son is like, you're kissing me too much, Mom. I'm like, what? You're just 6. You're already telling me to back off. Come on. Yeah.
Yeah, I should have known better, because Jody and I, we had Alex, and I showed up when he was 10, and so went through those teenage years, which were no picnic. He's turned out to be a great young man, and actually, in the investment industry as well.
Okay.
So I should have known better. I was ready for terrible 2s, terrible 3s, everything else, but I somehow had blanked out how hard teenage years could be. And I'm not going to lie, I'm making it up as we go. But I think they might be winning. They might be winning.
These kids are so smart.
Yeah, they are. So no, it's good that I love seeing the resources for kids though when they're young like this, because I mean those are just absolutely incredible seeds you've planted in Luke's head, and then so many other kids that have read the books, and it's becoming something that is a little more mainstream and easier to find. There's another author who's been doing this a long time, Sam Rennick, who he says we're coming into the golden age of youth financial education, because there are so many people like you that are putting stuff out there and really making it something that we talk about now. And so I just I love watching it happen, and I love seeing Luke be a character in your books, and it's really cool. So is Dee Dee someone that you know as well, or is that just a character that you made up?
That's actually my niece.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, she's actually she's in college right now. She just started her first year of college this fall, and so yeah, so she's not little, but yeah.
Very cool.
And yeah, so you talk about the golden age. It's good to see, people are realizing now that we have to catch these kids when they're young, right? Now is the time. Their minds are impressionable at this age, at a young age. And with money lessons, I feel like it can't be like a one-time thing. This is something you start and progressively build on with age appropriate lessons, as they get older. Right. So, and I love that, you're right. There are a lot of people out there now catching this and putting out a lot of content to help parents, because I know when I had issues, with finances and stuff like that, I did not feel like I was an authority to teach anybody, right? So even if you're a parent and you don't, you're having issues there, you look at your kids and it's going to be hard to say, you know what, I can teach you about money when my situation, given the situation that they're in. And to have people create content to make it easy for you to talk about money with your kids, and sometimes maybe make you think about, maybe I can fix my situation, right? If she did it. And this is why I share my story all the time, so people don't look at me like somebody who always knew about this, right? No, I was just like you. I made all of these mistakes and I was able to come out, and now, you can do it too, right? And you can start with your children. So
no, that's so important, because I think a lot of the moms and dads, they feel like, how do I teach this if I don't feel like I've got it down myself? So no, you give them the tools for that, give them the confidence for that. But then I love that you share your story to help them understand that it's doable, and you don't have to just be, born into the situation and that's how you know it, that you're real. You're just like everybody else, and you have to learn from those mistakes. And I try to do the same thing as well, is let people know that they're I didn't have that different of an upbringing from a lot of people that had to make a lot of mistakes. Like Jody and I like to tell the story about when we downsized and moved our big family into a tiny little 2-bedroom condo because we were having a hard time saving money any other way. And so we said, all right, let's just get drastic here and let's just all crowd into something small, and then try to tell the story about how that really changed our path, because then we were able to save, but we had to reduce that spend before we could.
Yeah.
So no, it's so important, and especially with money. I mean, the money, there's the dollars and cents in the math lessons, but really it's all a psychological battle.
Yes.
Whether we're talking about teaching a 6-year-old to save money, or if you're teaching a 30-year-old to invest money, the hardest part is the psychology.
It is.
Yep. So.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, any other thoughts or things that we haven't talked about that you think we should have?
The second book, I did something different with, where in the back of the book are activities, for the kids, right? So it's not just, okay, you read the book and then there's nothing, with this one, they, I have these labels, or people can create their own, where they can create their own jars with the kids. Because it's about spending, so the topic for the activities and, the theme actually for the activities will be spending. And there are opportunities for parents to sit down and, kind of talk about what are some of the things that we spend money on? What is spending? How does that look like for us? Why do we spend money on the things that we do, right? So there's a lot of activities to help, start that conversation and get it rolling in as people read these books with their kids. So that was something I added, and I plan on adding for each book. I'm also going to start doing a series of Kids Ask, right? So people can send in questions that kids might have about money, about saving, spending, sharing, earning, investing. And I will try to answer some of those questions in short videos, or feed like investing questions to my friends like you. To help answer those questions, just so, because there are a lot of times, people try to teach kids stuff and they don't know themselves how to answer these questions. So I'm going to start doing these short videos where I'll answer some of these questions, or, tap into other experts to help respond to those questions.
Oh, that'll be great. That's awesome. And for those that don't know, you're on Instagram. It's at the Money Teaching Mom. Is that correct?
Yes. At the Money Teaching Mom. Yep. At
the Money Teaching Mom. And you can find her books on Amazon and other places where you buy books. So check out her website, SammieFredericks.com.
Yep.
I really appreciate you coming on the show. It's been awesome to finally get to talk to you. I feel like I've known you for a long time through Instagram.
I know we haven't. Yeah, I know we've talked on social media, but not, in person on a phone or anything. I've talked to Jody though, but yeah.
Yep. Yeah. No, she's she found you, fell in love with you, and then we got to following each other, supporting each other, and it's just been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
To watch the path. So I appreciate you being on our show today, and wish you nothing but best of luck. And for those that haven't seen it, we do have her information listed on our website as well, TeachingKidsToBuyStocks.com, and then /resources. You'll see her first 2 books on there, and sounds like we'll be adding the next one in May.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for having me, and good luck with the podcast and everything else.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, it's been fun. I wasn't sure about doing it initially, but it's been a wonderful experience, and so I'm looking forward to keeping it going.
Okay. Good. Thank you.
Everyone else listening, thanks so much for joining us yet again, and we will see you next time. Thanks so much.
This podcast is sponsored by Wenrich Wealth. To learn more about how we can help you plan for your future, or for a second opinion on your current plan, visit our website at www.wenrichwealth.com or call 949-547-4313. Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA and SIPC. Wenrich Wealth, Teaching Kids to Buy Stocks, Golden Seal Productions, and OC Talk Radio are not affiliated with LPL Financial. The opinions in this matter are for general information only and not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations or a substitute for specific tax or legal advice for any individual. We suggest that you discuss your specific situation with a qualified tax or legal advisor. No strategy assures success or protects against loss. JJ's book, Teaching Kids to Buy Stocks, Stories and Lessons for Grown-Ups, is available at Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, and other fine book retailers. Learn more at TeachingKidsToBuyStocks.com. Piggy Banks to Wall Street is proud to be a part of the Golden Seal Productions family of shows.